great to be at the showcase just now, the 586 showcase, and just be able to do some of these drills and get kids out there. So thank you for having that. First and foremost, you as a player have an interesting journey. Going to college for a semester to play basketball because you were a hooper, and then transferring and walking on the football team, and eventually working your way up. Talk about that whole journey and how tough it was just to get to where you are.
Yeah, so I was a big basketball player. Come out of high school, we didn't have a very good football program. We were like 0-27 going to my senior year. Almost didn't even play football my senior year. I ended up going to Northwood for about a semester, and I just kind of felt like I sold myself short a little bit. Like I should have been playing somewhere bigger. So I ended up leaving a full ride scholarship at Northwood and going to walk on at Central, which my grandparents weren't too sure about that. Obviously, 'cause I had free school, and I just took a chance on myself, and I knew what I was capable of, and went to Central, and it all worked out. So.
And things always seem to work out, right? And
Yeah.
that's a prime example right there. Let's talk about your CMU days. Obviously, had a big part to do with you getting to the NFL. Talk about some of the stories behind the scenes where you worked your way up from that walk on to that star.
Yeah, 100%. I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. Just how everything's worked out for me, I have to be. But getting to Central, I got there in the spring because I only played a semester of basketball, and I actually went as a wide receiver. Played wide receiver for like the first 4 weeks of spring ball. I ended up moving to DN for a week, which I've never played really defense in my life. And I just wasn't really. I didn't really want to play defense. I didn't want to play DN. I came home to work 'cause I was a walk-on, so I was working construction for a summer, and I was somewhere to a small school and play football and basketball and stay close to home. And I ended up calling a coach, asked if I could move to tight end, and then ended up moving me to tight end. And I went in, I was like the eighth tight end out of 8 tight ends, and just kind of slowly worked my way up. It took me a while because I graduated like 185 pounds, so to be able to gain weight and actually be a tight end, I needed that time anyway. But I just had to work my way up, and was fortunate to have a really good tight end coach in Sharon Moore, who's now at the University of Michigan. So.
Hey, again, it worked out eventually. One thing that hits home with what you and your family have is the suicide prevention, the mental health awareness, because that's how I started out, was by reading a poem to my high school as a fourth grader. Can you kind of explain how important that is to you and kind of give everyone some points about mental awareness?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because actually this offseason, the Vikings and one of the writers there, Lindsey Young, who's an awesome writer, she did like a couple part series this offseason about mental health awareness where, every couple different players when it talked about, different, like mine was more about anxiety and dealing with anxiety and, but people just did all types of different, like everybody's segment's a little different, just kind of stuff they deal with and bringing to light, that, sometimes people look at football players like, we're just like we're all human just like everybody else, and we just to talk about it, try to normalize. I feel like especially for men sometimes, that it's okay to have, issues and talk about those things. And obviously my mom, she's done, that's like what her life work's been about. Her brother committed suicide when I was only 2 years old, so it's always struck home for her, and ever since then, I mean, that's kind of what she's done. I mean, she was a counselor in the school district, Lance Cruz, for 25 years, and now she still works in private practice after retiring at LCN, and that's what she loves to do, and I couldn't, and obviously I'm blessed to have a mom that cares so much about that stuff, and it's obviously rubbed off on me a little bit because that means a lot to me.
I salute you and your family for working on that. That's really important. Now you scored your first receiving touchdown this year over with the Vikings. Talk about how exciting that was to finally be able to walk through the end zone.
Yeah, about time, man. I was starting to think I was cursed there for a second, but yeah, there was opportunities kind of throughout the season as I finally got a chance to play, and I'm like, damn, I could have had a touchdown there, and finally, I just had the opportunity to catch that ball, and I saw I was that close to the end zone, it could make something happen, and there was nothing going to stop me there, so definitely felt good to get the first one out of the way, and now we can, start piling them up a little bit.
And I always have players do a dance, and there's one dance that's kind of special to your team, and that's a gritty. You want to hit it for us real
I'm
quick?
not gritty in today. I'm sorry. You could no gritty for me, but Justin, Irv, all the boys, Adam, they always make fun of me every day because even in practice they'll score a touchdown, they'll start grittying, and they'll be like, "Come on, T, you got Conk, you got a gritty." I'm not gritty. You're not gonna get me to dance. So eventually, when Jet gives me some lessons and I figure out how to gritty, I'll do it for you. But right now, I'll tell you one thing: I'm not much of a dancer.
I was gonna ask you to teach me. We gotta get you guys on my show and all of us learn.
Yeah, well, we can maybe get that, but I'm the last person to teach him, and I've never even tried it myself. they always try to get me to do it. And I'm like, not today, guys.
We'll see. One day it'll happen.
Yeah, one day we'll get there.
Last segment we got to do here is flip the switch. I have the person I'm talking to ask me a few questions. It's the classic Global Kid Media segment. You ready for it?
We'll go for it.
Here you go. It's the mic.
All right, so I've never interviewed anybody before, but I guess I'll just start with saying I know I've taught your dad a lot today, and you do this all the time. Who was probably one of the favorite athletes, or just favorite people in general that you've interviewed?
I always say it's these kids from the Special Olympics at the Pro Bowl in 2019, and that was actually a few moments before I interviewed Adam Thielen, and it was really cool just to see their passion and energy, and that's just something that you don't really get anywhere else. So just to even learn from someone like that, like those kids in the Special Olympics, their mindset on things is spectacular. So that would be number one. But as far as in the NFL, I'd say Patrick Mahomes, Deion Sanders, Von Miller. Adam's obviously a fun guy, so that was fun. There's guys all around the league.
Yeah, that's quite a list, man. But yeah, the Special Olympics thing, because at Central Michigan, we host the Special Olympics every year. So we always worked out, like we always went and did stuff and worked them and hung out with the kids during the events. So I couldn't agree with you more there. And I guess one more question would probably be, so football. So I know you're starting to play quarterback.
Yes, sir.
And you're going to be a sophomore?
Yes, sir.
Sophomore. So how's that experience been trying to become, because quarterback's obviously a tough position. How's that been going for you so far?
Yeah, so last year was my first year playing quarterback, and I'm a little bit of a smaller guy, just trying to work my way up, be in the weight room. I've been 5 days a week, and just trying to get stronger, faster, bigger, and compete with those guys. So I think even just learning the game a little bit more, a little bit deeper, and just understanding certain things and getting out there and executing it is the best feeling. So I'll be ready to go by fall.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of one reason I always wanted to do these camps and do these things, because I feel like, I wasn't a 5-star recruit. I didn't play at a Power 5 school. I wasn't drafted in the first round.
Right.
So I just like to think that my story can resonate with people a lot more, because, I was once here, less than 10 years ago. I was playing in high school in this area, with no Division I offers or anything. So, man, you're doing a great job with everything you're doing, and happy I got to interview you too, I guess.
I appreciate that, man. Congratulations on all your work.
I appreciate you.